Alrighty. Good afternoon. This is kind of an odd time for me to be online. Obviously, usually we would schedule this much further in advance, but this is really more of a test. I'm just kind of testing some of the things that I have set up. So I'm gonna probably jump back and forth between talking about certain things and then also trying to test some things out here and see how things are working for me. If you are watching live, oh, hey, Eddie. I see, hopefully, yeah, Eddie. Sorry. It's really small on my screen. So, um, say hi if you are in the channel and watching live, and let me know how the sound is. Is the sound good? Am I too loud? My, it sounds like it might be peaking a bit much. So feel free to let me know if you see anything weird or hear anything weird, or if I'm blowing out your speakers or something like that. Let me know so we can get that adjusted for the future. I was gonna jump on it myself, but we've got a couple people on here, so hopefully you guys will give me some feedback. 10 p.m. Wow. Uh, from Ghana. Wow. You stayed up late. Are you usually up this late? We'll find out here in a second. There's a little bit of a delay, so I wish you could have less delay, but it would be nice if we could do that. But I don't know, especially all the way over in Ghana, that might be a bit of a greater delay than I think. So great to have you. Thanks for jumping on here, kind of spur of the moment. Kind of testing some things out here. Let me see. So, first thing I want to do, obviously, we've got a couple people on here, but thank you for not just jumping onto the live stream here, but thank you for being a part of the Dev Mentor Dave YouTube channel. It's definitely been a journey. I did not start off wanting to make a bunch of videos. That was not my goal. Originally, I just wanted to do live streams like this because I prefer interacting with people and talking to people. Um, and that didn't really happen right away because I didn't have a following anywhere else. So I realized pretty quickly I had to move over to creating videos. So hopefully those are enjoyable and helpful to you. I know that definitely gotten a lot more views on them than I thought I would ever would, and even had somebody review one of my videos fairly early on. Somebody has a whole lot more subscribers than I do, and that was really weird. Having somebody who's a name in the business actually review one of my videos, so that was interesting to say the least, but kind of it was helpful. Got me quite a few subscribers, I think. So I appreciate Prime. I forget how you pronounce his name, Prime Egan or something like that. But thanks to you for helping out with my with getting some traffic to my website, to my YouTube channel. So yeah. Typically, Eddie says that he's kind of a night owl. So I find that happens a lot with a lot of developers. There's just something about us that we tend to be night owl people for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just out of necessity because that's when things are quietest and we don't have anything else going on. Maybe that's the main reason. I'm not really sure. I don't have a great reason for it, but yeah, it definitely seems to be fairly common for developers for sure. Yeah. So anyway, thank you again for showing up here. Thanks um, for being a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber yet, certainly feel free to join us so you'll get notifications whenever we do something like this, where we've got a live stream. But again, hopefully we'll plan these much more better in the future. So that's something I do want to talk about briefly today on this live stream. But yeah, so thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for a lot of kind words. I've had a lot of different people leave comments and just tell me how that they've enjoyed the content or they found it helpful. I appreciate that because it lets me know that what I'm doing is something that is making the impact that I want it to make. Um, Obviously, you know, when you get onto YouTube, there's lots of things that YouTube wants to do to encourage you to post more videos and things like that. They, you know, they talk about monetization and all these other things. And while that stuff's great, and would be awesome if we ever get to that point, um, the more important thing is that what I'm putting up there is serving you guys and giving you exactly what you need um, on your development journey. And that's why I got into this, because I've worked with several junior developers over the years, and I've just seen, I've seen a lot of bad stuff go on for junior developers. And I want to help you all kind of understand how to navigate this world of development and working with employers and working on teams and all kinds of different topics and things like that, that hopefully we'll be able to get to over time as we go, and it's helpful to you. So thank you for leaving comments and letting me know that so far it seems to mostly be working. I think the artificial intelligence dog video didn't do so well. Apparently I must not have explained that one very well. It wasn't a very good topic or something. I don't know, but oh well. And then lastly, thank you for reaching out. I know I mentioned this on a post recently, but had a lot of people reach out via email at devmentordave.com. There's a form there that you can fill out and that'll send me an email. And I apologize. I did have some things that were not set correctly, so I wasn't able to respond to anybody. I did get them. I have read them, and I've thought through a lot of them and tried to incorporate them into different plans and things that I have moving forward for the channel. So a lot of the questions that have been asked will definitely be involved in some of the things that we're going to do moving forward. In fact, I have a lot of ideas moving forward for the channel. A lot of things that hopefully someday, if we get more time, we'll be able to implement over the course of the next years, hopefully, as we move forward with the channel here. So I did want to just kind of throw out there just to give you guys an idea. I know sometimes it might seem like some of the videos are kind of random topics and maybe randomly uploaded. Right now, usually I'm recording on Monday nights. So I'd originally hoped to do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing. That doesn't work out very well with the actual recording on Monday nights, and Saturdays I'm not always as free as I am today. So usually I'm recording Mondays, and I'll try to get something out on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday. This week I actually had a video plan that I was working on for Friday, but I decided to go ahead and not put that out Friday and kind of talk about it here today since I had some time this afternoon. So we're going to talk about some of the things I was going to talk about on that video. So I spent some time last night actually doing some investigation and learning. One of the things about being a developer is you never stop learning, and I'm finding one of the things about being a YouTuber is you never stop learning, because there's a lot of stuff to learn, you know. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of tools that you can learn. Right now I've got a pretty basic setup, just my iPhone and computer and you know, normal development screens and things like that. But got the green screen behind me. Those are not, that's not real bricks on my wall. That's green screen. So I realized a little bit ago I had to change shirts because it was I had a green shirt on and that was not going to work. You just have this floating head, which would not have been very appealing. So definitely spent some time last night, especially doing some extra learning, trying to streamline a little bit some of the process, to make things a little bit easier for me to do not the recording, but to do the editing of the videos. And then also, along with that will allow me to do more videos. So especially with the new series coming up, I definitely want to try to incorporate some things that are kind of standard processes, standard things that we'll have in our videos, at least for the series, if not for other videos. And so I just wanted to do a little bit extra learning. So I didn't finish that video. I kind of used it to play around with a lot of things and settings and stuff. So hopefully that'll make things a lot easier moving forward. And that's also why we're doing live stream right now today instead of getting a video out last night. So or yesterday. So one of the other things that I'm working on right now is a lot of planning for 2024. We are nearing the end of 2023, and we really just got started in September, October of this year. I think I started posting actual videos in October. We started a live stream, I think, in September, but actual video posting was more October. So we've only been at this for 2.5 months, really. And it's been amazing to see how you all have kind of embraced it. And I appreciate that, in such a short time period. So thank you for that. But we're definitely have a lot of plans and ideas, for 2024, and, different video series, different, standalone videos, other things. I'm doing a lot of dreaming right now. One of those, if I had the time, these are the things that I would really like to do, because I think there's some things that would be really even more beneficial to the community as a whole, outside of just posting a bunch of videos. Hopefully the videos are helpful. And that is, I'm getting more used to creating them. But really, I think there's other ways that would be helpful to engage with you guys, such as having like a private group. I'm working on a way to do that. I know a lot of YouTube channels use Discord. I would be interested in setting that up if that's something that you guys would be interested in as well. If so, leave me a comment either in the chat here if you're watching live, or leave me a comment in the video later on. So I'm looking at trying to set up some sort of private group. Obviously, I also have a full-time job, so I can't be on there all the time answering questions, but it might be a place for you all to interact, or maybe for some other senior devs to come in and provide some mentoring, or just answer some questions, things like that would help you along in your journey when we can't be online here. So I'd like to have something that's a little bit more than just the YouTube video channels, and more than just like live streams and things like that. Obviously it would be great if at some point we could turn this into a business and do this full time, because as much as I enjoy writing code, I enjoy helping junior devs more. This is more, I think, where my passion is now than it was back when I first started coding, as I've kind of grown through my career. So that's another one of those dreams that I'd like to see happen. I don't know that that's going to happen in 2024, because life is expensive, and I'm not the type of person to just jump out and try something. I like to try to plan things out along the way. So that's probably several years down the road before anything like that happens. But hey, that's part of what we're supposed to do as developers. We dream about things. We want to see what the possibilities are and go for it, right? So anyway, the main focus really of doing the live stream, other than just kind of testing some things out, and thank you again for those who jumped on here and gave me some feedback on sound and stuff, is to just kind of talk through the new series that we're working on. I put out a post on the channel a few days ago, maybe it was a week ago, talking about the new series and my idea for it. I just kind of wanted to break that down a little bit more, give you a little bit more insight into what I'm thinking as far as the plan for this video series, and how I'm approaching it moving forward. Oh, sorry about that. You probably got a long little ding there. It happens sometimes when I'm recording videos. I'll smack the mic because I like to talk with my hands, and I have to cut that part out because it's like bing. I'm like, oh, I don't need a sound effect there. So the new series is I'm using the title. I think I'm going to stick with this, called Developer Odyssey. So it's kind of got that journey idea. So the goal there is that we're gonna be looking at designing your development journey, and one of the videos we'll be talking about this. But in my opinion, a lot of people will give you their opinion of what they think you should do and the path that you should take and the things, the courses you should take and all these different things. And the reality is there's a lot of different areas of the development world that you could be a part of. And I think you really need to kind of have more information to make a good decision, at least to start your journey in a specific path that will be something that you're interested in. I think a lot of times people just go through the process of doing like a boot camp or something like that, and they're told you need to go down these steps, and they all go kind of down the same tunnel to the same end point, and that's not really. There's lots of other possibilities out there, and I think most junior devs don't come into the development world knowing about any of those other options. And so one of the goals of this series is to kind of talk through all those different options, talk through the realities that boot camps aren't going to tell you, right? We're going to talk through some of the hard things about being a developer, some of the hard things that they're going to have to go through to become a developer. So there's lots of different pieces. In fact, right now I've got almost 20 videos planned, and that number seems to be growing. The more I think about the process, the more I think about the things that I think junior developers or people looking to get into development need to know. The videos keep piling up because I want to try to keep them fairly short. I want to keep them hopefully around 10 minutes if I possibly can, so we're not just beating a dead horse. We're not just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Hopefully it's clear and concise, each of the different segments along the way. So I'm going to try to keep them about 10 minutes each if I possibly can. There might be some that go longer, or we just have to break up into multiple videos. But right now we're getting close to about 20 videos on the planning list. That being said, we will not be posting any of those videos next week. So I was hoping to try to get started on that this week, and some things came up and it didn't really work out for me to get onto that. I'm going to be finishing up a little bit more planning today and tomorrow probably. And then Monday I will probably start in on that series and try to do that some more throughout the week. But this series with probably 20 or more videos, it's going to take a while. And my goal is to get 3 out a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If I can get ahead, I'll be able to do that. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, 21 videos divided by 3 videos a week is 7 weeks. So we've got almost 2 months worth of videos that we're going to be working on here. And somebody popped in. Say hello if you're here. So we've got probably 7, maybe even 8 weeks of videos that we're going to be putting out in this series alone. And we might try to do some other standalone videos just so we're not only doing that, but that's going to take up a bulk of the time here for the next couple of months probably, as we work through that video series and get that out there. So it will not all be out by the end of the year, because we'll still be creating them. And then obviously we've got Christmas coming up, so that's going to be probably get in the way a little bit with trying to get that content out. But we'll try to work ahead as much as we can and work when we have availability there to get those out there. So that's kind of the idea and the plan for the new series. Again, I know this is a little bit more focused on people who are kind of coming into the industry, but I think there's going to be a lot of things that might help you as a junior developer, even if you've already gone through some training or something like that, just to kind of open your eyes and open your mind to a lot of other things that are out there. Maybe other avenues you could pursue, even though you've already maybe got some training probably in like front-end JavaScript frameworks or something like that. I want to show you other options out there. I want to show you other ways that you can get into this industry. Just recently did a video about kind of the back door, the secret way to get in, the way that basically I got into the industry. So we'll talk about things like that in this series, but it is mostly focused on people coming into the concept of becoming a developer, maybe trying to figure out if that's something that they want to do. I want them to be informed before they start that journey as much as possible, so they aren't surprised by some of the unfortunate surprises that we see in the industry for junior developers. And they just have a better grasp even before they get started of how much stuff they're going to have to actually learn to be able to be a part of this industry. So there's lots of different pieces to that. So I'm trying to plan that out and get that ready to go. So there will be a couple videos up this week, but they will not be part of that series. That series will probably start the week after this week. Is that Christmas? Hang on a second. No, where's my calendar? Just 1 second. All right, probably not supposed to do this stuff when you're doing live. So that'll probably start. No, it's not Christmas. That'll start the week of the 17th, Sunday the 17th. So that's the goal. Oh, hey, is it Hilton? Sorry, my text is really small, so I'm having a hard time. There we go. That's bigger. Yeah, Hilton. Nice to see you. Watching from Brazil. And is it Yusuf? Let me know if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Yusuf from Indonesia. Awesome. We are international. So great to see you all. Thanks for jumping on the live stream. Again, this is mostly just a test, but I just wanted to get some information out as well, kind of what we're going to be doing in the future. So I'm glad to hear you guys are looking forward to it. Thanks, Hilton. I'm looking forward to getting that out there for you. So obviously that's a big focus right now, is getting that series out. But I do have some plans for 2024 as well. And I'll need to figure out a good time for this, because one of the big plans that I had originally wanted to do, that I talked about earlier with this YouTube channel, was doing live streams. I really wanted to do live streams. I wanted to do live interaction, question and answers, kind of like what we've got going on here with the chat, having people jump in here and leave a question and get to those hopefully throughout the time period there. But I know we do actually have a lot of people outside the US that are subscribers to the channel. So I may have to put that out there for a poll one of these days and kind of see what would be a best time for most people. I'm thinking it's probably going to be something like an afternoon like this, maybe a little bit earlier afternoon, with so many people on the other side of the world, since you guys are up pretty late. So in fact, let's see. Well, Brazil is more on my side of the world. Indonesia though. What time is it there, Yusuf? Let me know in the chat. But yeah, so one of the things I want to get back to in 2024 is the live stream, and I want that to be more of a question and answer type thing. Obviously, interaction as well, like this, which is fun. But I want to do like specific questions and answer those questions live, so that we can talk through some of these things. Because I do try to read every comment that is on my videos, which is pretty easy right now since we're pretty small still. I can usually get to, oh wow, 5:24 a.m. Wow. So you're way further. Yeah, you're much further than Ghana for sure. I couldn't remember how close that is. You know, the maps make things look weird. They don't give you a good idea of the time differences. Wow. So are you up for the day, or did you stay up all night? Hopefully you're just up for the day. That's early. I haven't gotten up that early in a long time. But anyway, so yeah, Monday, I was thinking about the mentoring Monday, but if that doesn't work for most of the subscribers, most of our viewers, then we'll figure something else out. But I really want to get back to doing at least a monthly live stream, if not maybe even a weekly live stream as well. But again, a lot of that has to do with availability. You know, if I can streamline some of the video editing process and things like that, or maybe if I can teach my kids how to do that and give them something to do. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to teach my kids to how to edit videos so I can make them edit my videos for me, and I don't have to spend the time doing that. I can get online here with you guys. So that's the idea. Ding. I know my daughter would do well at it. I'm not sure any of the other kids would do it very well, but all right, we've got tell me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Is it night toad? I think that's the idea. So hello, glad to have you here. Thanks for jumping in to our little test. Yeah, that's a good question, Yusuf. He said I've been learning JavaScript from YouTube for half a year now, but I feel stuck. Um, I guess my question is what part of it do you feel stuck on? Um, do you feel like you're just not learning anything new? Do you feel like you can't use it? Like you're not able to take it and put it into a real world um, scenario? What is it that makes you feel like you're stuck in the process of learning JavaScript? That would be my first question with that, because I think a lot of times we feel stuck um, when we're not actually using it, when we feel like we haven't done um, anything tangible with it. Um, so yeah, what I would do is hey night toad. So what I would do, Yusuf, is look around for some projects and something that you know you would need JavaScript for, right? So one of the things that I had a class to do once is um, build a calculator, build a calculator application that use JavaScript for all the calculations, for all of the button clicks, because you're going to have, and when you click a number, it's got to use JavaScript to update a value in your calculator screen. It's got to keep track of that information. It has to, it's going to need to actually run the calculations when you do it. When you punch in the different buttons. That's something that it sounds simple, but the more you get into it, the more you think, well, I'm going to need to have this piece of functionality, and I'm going to have this piece of functionality. Yeah, and so I like the calculator project because it makes you think through how a calculator actually works, and then what pieces of functionality, what code do I need to write to do that. And so that's the one that I typically give people, especially who are learning something like JavaScript, where they're interacting with an actual HTML page, because they can build the buttons, they can build the div and the input and all that stuff, but then it's applying. Okay, how do I use methods? How do I use these variables? How do I store this data? So that would be my suggestion. That's kind of a simple thing, but it can be very complex. So the idea of building a calculator is pretty simple, but once you start getting into it, you can start to get you can start to see it gets much more complicated very quickly, or it can get much more complicated. Actually, most of the people in the very short course that I taught were able to build a functioning calculator. And it was interesting seeing different people do it different ways, from what they had learned, from what they had researched online. So I think it's using something like that in the real world, where you already know how it's supposed to function. That is key when you're learning. I think a lot of times people say, just go build something. Well, if you don't even know how the thing is supposed to function that you're wanting to build, how are you supposed to build that, right? But most people understand the basics of how a calculator works, right? And so if you know how a calculator works, then you can go into the process, think through the process of pushing a button and storing it in memory, and then being able to add to that if they push another button, making it and the actual right button, converting those strings to integers if you need to, and doing the math and all that other fun stuff. So it can get, depending on how far you want to take it down the road, it can get pretty complicated, building something that you know innately pretty much how it works, but it forces you to go through the process of understanding it and planning it out. Yeah, and so taking those JavaScript concepts and applying them into real applications, that would be, that's one of the reasons why I'd love to set up some sort of group, so that we'd be able to do this type of exchange at other times other than a live stream, right? Because it'd be great to sit down and just be like, okay, so what, like give me a concept that you're having a hard time putting into real world. So if you can do that, then you can kind of go from there and give examples of how you would do that. Because yes, especially if you don't have any sort of programming background, it's going to be hard to pick up a language and just know innately what to do with it, right? I mean, that's not how people typically work. So, Night Toad, as far as the agenda for today, mostly it's just for testing to make sure that things are working well. One of the goals for 2024 is to get back to doing some live streams at least once a month, if not more frequently if we can, along with all the other videos and series and things that I'm planning, and probably trying to plan way too many things to try to get out there. So that's the agenda. Really was just trying to kind of get on here. I didn't plan to go a whole lot longer than 30 minutes, but people are engaging, and I want to engage. So that's cool. But yeah, so 2024, I want to pick up live streaming. So I want to just kind of jump in here and test. I also just want to see if anybody would notice that we were going live and jump on. So thank you guys for joining me. It's been fun to see some people jump on here and just have them interact and stay engaged. So that's cool. I appreciate it. So another thing, kind of a weird thing, it's a little off topic, that I'm thinking about doing. I'd be interested in hearing if anybody has any, is interested in it or has any objections to it. But I am hopefully not grossly overweight, but, but I definitely could lose a few pounds. I'd like to lose probably about 50 pounds, in 2024. And so I'm thinking about doing like a weight loss challenge thing. So maybe on the live streams, or maybe just in the comments or something like that, I'll leave updates on my weight journey. See if anybody else wants to join me along the way. If anybody else needs to lose some weight, because it's definitely a problem in our industry, being a sedentary job. You definitely have the propensity to gain some weight if you like to eat sweets like I like to eat. Of course, with Christmas coming up, I'm not gonna eat the right things a lot of times, unfortunately. So that journey's not going to start until January for sure. But that's one of my weight loss. That's one of my New Year's resolutions for 2024 that I might sneak in here with the YouTube channel as well. Unless people tell me not to, then I won't. If you don't want to hear about my journey, then I won't tell you. So I've got other ideas. I know there's some other series. Different people have asked me questions about how should I go about getting a job, especially in this current market. It's really hard for junior developers, especially to get a job right now, here in the United States. But thanks, Hilton. Well, there'll be at least the two of us on that journey there. But yeah, so I'll probably be planning out a series, videos, probably a lot shorter than the 21, but yeah, I definitely want to do a short series on job searching and just talk through a lot of different pieces around that, from resumes to dealing with recruiters to um, uh, interviewing, um, getting your GitHub repository in a place where people are interested. The more I talk about it, the more videos are popping in my head of things that need to be talked about. So we'll have to see. But another series that I want to do is talking about finding a good mentor. Because this is one of the reasons why the YouTube channel is called Dev Mentor Dave. I firmly believe that the best thing for any junior developer is having a mentor, even if it's not a great mentor. Um, I just feel like mentors really help you take that next step. It's because they're available, they're knowledgeable, and so I want to help you guys know what to look for in a mentor. I know I did that one video not too long ago about kind of tricking a senior dev into becoming a mentor if without them knowing it to some degree. So hopefully that was helpful. But I've actually done that. I've seen that done. And sometimes you just have to do that to get a mentor. But that's another series that I want to do, and there's probably some more that I haven't thought of yet. Obviously, series that I want to do and jump in. But yeah, so that's lots of different plans and dreams and ideas for 2024. So as we grow in numbers, as I get some different time and things like that to be able to get this out, hopefully streamline some of the video creation process, we'll get this stuff rolling, hopefully even better and more helpfully in 2024. As always, if you guys have ideas, things that you would like to see, obviously leave them in the comments on the videos. Feel free to interact with the videos. Like I said, I read every comment and hope to forever read every comment and respond to them if I feel like there's a response necessary other than just hitting the like button. So definitely feel free to send to leave comments, and I love it. I love seeing the comments, man. There's almost nothing more enjoyable about posting a video than having somebody respond to it, and even if they disagree, at least they watched the video. I absolutely love it. I love it when you guys engage on the videos. So please continue to do that. I would appreciate it. And I think, as far as I know, it helps with YouTube getting it out to other people too. So yeah, definitely feel free to leave me comments. Leave me comments on the videos, on the live streams, in the chats. Leave me comments in the devmentordave.com forum. All those things, I do see all of that, and so I will definitely take all of that stuff into account when I'm thinking about series, when I'm thinking about one-off videos and things like that. So I really appreciate the way you guys have engaged so far in just these last couple months of actually doing this YouTube thing. So it's been awesome. I think I'm a little bit behind here on the chat here. Let me get caught up real fast. Okay, cool, Hilton. Yeah, I always recommend that you know that there are lots of other things out there, but I always recommend, especially for junior devs, that you pick one thing and focus on it. And C# is a good one. At the place that I work, we have a couple of C#, 2 or 3 C# developers, maybe 4, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I would always recommend that you really focus on one main thing. That's another reason why I'm not a huge fan of the way that boot camps typically work these days. They're very front end heavy, and they're all JavaScript heavy, but they move so fast from one thing to another. It's hard to really feel like you've got something before you kind of get pushed on to the next thing. And to be honest, as a developer, we're always having to grow and learn and change and learn new things. But at some point, you've got to kind of make a focus. And so when I started early on, my main focus was PHP. I still, today, the job that I do is mostly PHP now. I do front end development as well with it, using the Vue.js framework. But having a solid understanding of one language is really going to help you. It'll help you with the problem that Yusuf was talking about of getting to where you can apply those things to a project. The more you know, the more you use a specific language, the more you're going to think in terms of that language and think of solutions with that language. So I definitely think that's a great idea, Hilton. Just keep. I would really stay focused, even though I'm not a C# guy. I would stay focused on that, and just pursue that and make that your goal. And I think that's really cool that you're going to build some trading bots. I've seen some of those things before and thought that was interesting, but yeah, if you can do something that's related to your current job as well. One of the reasons, so that video actually has gone pretty viral for me. And it's had, 500 plus views. So that's pretty viral for me. But I would say if you can build something that is related to your, that is related to your current job, even if it's not for your employer. I know that was kind of the focus of that video, was saying, hey, get them to pay you to work as a developer. Not everybody can do that, but if you can build an application or work on something that is related to that field, that's really helpful, because again, it goes back to what I was talking about with the calculator, right? It's something that you know how that industry works. You know how that thing would need to function, right? So you know what needs to go into the process there in building something that would be helpful to you. So that's another reason why building something based on your current job is a great way to get into and to practice your skills, because you know the requirements, because you're involved in that from a daily basis. That's why it worked out well for me to build those applications when I was a customer service representative, because I knew the job. I knew the things that we struggled with. I knew the things that were frustrating, so I could build something to help alleviate those frustrations. So yeah, I think that's a great plan and a great process, Hilton. I would definitely recommend that. Yeah, Eddie, again, tutorials, I know, somebody mentioned it. Yeah, Yusuf mentioned he came from that tutorials are killing your growth. It's not the tutorial that's the problem. It's how we tend to use them. But the reality is sometimes you need that. What I would encourage you to do, Eddie, is focus less on the tutorial. And if you can, focus on the documentation. So once you get the basic ideas from the tutorial of how to put this code together, then go into the documentation, because the documentation is going to give you a lot more information. And so, for example, I'll let you know, the company that I work for. All right, I'll see you, Hilton. Thanks for jumping in here. Yeah, I'll get to the rest of your stuff here. You can maybe pick it up later, but thanks for jumping in. Have a good day. I think you were in Brazil, right? Yeah. Yeah, have a good day. So what was I saying? I don't remember. What was I talking about? I was talking about trying to look at the chat and see if I can jog my memory what I was talking about. Oh, documentation. So, at my job, we have all senior level developers. We don't hire any junior level developers, and that's not because they're bad. It's just because the things that we promise our clients, we need to have senior level developers to be able to do that. And so we only hire seniors, which means that anybody above me, I'm actually a lead. Anybody above me will, is going to be as knowledgeable or more knowledgeable than I am. And so my boss actually hit me up the other day about something that he found in the documentation for Laravel, which is a PHP framework that we use. And he's like, I've been working with PHP and Laravel for years, and I've never seen this. And it was something that did exactly what he was looking to do. But he was going the hard way, and there was a method in the documentation that did exactly what he wanted to do. So that's that's why I say get used to reading documentation, get used to trying to figure out how the documentation, hopefully it's good documentation, but how the documentation's set up and how to search the documentation. Because you'll often find things kind of buried in documentation that will either do the thing that you're trying to do already, or that will help you with other methods that get you to that place faster than the tutorial might go into on the tutorial. Because again, tutorials really are just kind of an entry level, and I think Prime kind of agreed with me on this. It's really an entry level to that specific thing, whether it's a programming language or a framework or something like that. It's just to kind of get your foot in the door so you can see how it actually works in real life. And so once you have done that, once you've stuck your foot in the door, then you need to go to the documentation, because there is going to be a lot more information on things that you don't have time to go through in a tutorial series, and people are probably going to get bored. You know, one of the things with YouTube is you want people to feel engaged the whole way through the video. So even on a tutorial video, people get bored. I get bored watching tutorial videos sometimes, even if it's something that I'm really interested in. Like right now I'm doing a lot of tutorial videos on DaVinci Resolve, which is the video editor that I'm using. And so I'm watching a lot of those, and unfortunately I skip through some things sometimes too, because you just can't cover everything in a tutorial, because there's a lot of stuff that won't make sense to people until they start using it and start needing some of those deeper methods and things like that. Sorry. but yeah, so yeah, Eddie, I would say the tutorials are good. I'm not saying don't use them. I think you should use them, but I would get used to also, after you've watched a tutorial and kind of gotten the basic idea, go to the documentation and start looking at all the information in the documentation, because I think you'll find things in there a lot of times that will help you do things different or better or faster than you would have if you just stuck with the knowledge that you had from the tutorial. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, Night Toad, they definitely do feel difficult to read, especially depending on which docs you are dealing with. Also depends on how new you are to development, to be honest with you. If you're pretty new to even being a developer, documentation is going to be like, it's gonna make very little sense, because unfortunately we tend to write like we think, and we tend to write like we speak. And when you have been a developer for many years, and you know an application, or you know a framework or a language really well, sometimes it's hard to write down to the level of somebody who's just kind of getting in to it. So I definitely understand feeling like it's difficult. I think that's where, and again, that's another place where having a mentor can really help kind of walk through that documentation with you and explain what it's talking about. So if you can find somebody either at work, or if you can find somebody online or something like that, that you can get with when you've got some of those questions, I think it can be really helpful to hear their understanding, hear somebody else take the documentation and explain it. That's why tutorials work so well. At the end of the day, really, tutorials are beneficial because it's somebody taking this technical documentation a lot of times and putting it into a real world example and explaining what it means. You know, that's why they're helpful. That's why we enjoy them. That's why they get lots of views on YouTube, right? Because it's taking something that's hard to read sometimes and hard to understand and putting it into language that you understand. But I will encourage you with this. The more you read documentation, the longer you spend practicing and developing your development skills, the easier it will be for you to understand the documentation as it goes. One of the problems with documentation is, let's say, for example, you're looking at Vue.js documentation, right? So here, I wanted to try something here just to, oop, I'm going to move my mic. Sorry if this makes a bunch of noise. Okay. Because I need to get to my keyboard here. All right, I'm going to switch. Let's try this. All right, hopefully you guys should see things changed over to my desktop. I'm waiting for it here on my view to see if it changes over on my view. Perfect. All right. So this is Vue.js. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in this or even know anything about it, but this is a framework, front-end framework for JavaScript. So if we go to the docs here, in my opinion, this is one of the better documentations, but again, it's going to give you, what is Vue? Well, if you don't have a great understanding of JavaScript, this might still be difficult for you to understand and read, right? So if you're reading through all these different things, you've got, scripts and templates, and you're like, I don't know, there's some styles. I understand that. I've done some CSS, right? Or I don't, importing. I don't remember doing importing in my JavaScript. I'm not sure what that's doing, so there might be things as you go through this and you say, I don't know. I don't really understand this because I don't understand JavaScript, right? So, but the more you begin to understand JavaScript, the more this documentation will make sense, because this documentation is based off of JavaScript, right? So you have, let me drop this one in here. See if you can see me on top of it now. So you have like layers of information that you're dealing with at this point, right? You're dealing with a layer of information about JavaScript. And then on top of that, you're dealing with a layer of information about frameworks in general, like what is a framework. And then on top of that, you're dealing with, okay, this specific framework called Vue.js. And so depending on what type of documentation you're reading, what, if you're looking at framework documentation, if you're looking at, like Bootstrap. I don't know if anybody here has ever used Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a CSS framework to make it easier for you to. It's like Tailwind would be another option, probably one that you guys are using a lot more. But yeah, so understanding Bootstrap's documentation only goes as far as you can understand the CSS concepts, right? Because Bootstrap is another level up from CSS, whereas if you just go to show you how bad I can type. So if you go to like W3 schools, we're just going to go to HTML. Well, no, this is just HTML. It's kind of a low level life form, right? So, it's definitely going to give you more basic information. You probably already understand this documentation a lot better. So if you had an issue with I don't know, headings, right? Let's say your headings weren't working correctly. You could go here. You would understand this documentation because you understand probably the basics of HTML, right? So I think that's something to keep in mind when you're struggling with documentation, when you're struggling with trying to figure out what it's talking about. Realize that there's probably multiple levels, multiple layers of information, multiple layers of knowledge that goes into understanding that framework better. So that is one of the things that tutorials help. They definitely help bring some of this information into an easier place to understand, but they don't give you everything necessarily to be able to just jump in and learn the docs. So That's my encouragement on documentation. Again, I know it's difficult, but I would say keep reading it, because the more you read it, at least you'll become familiar with terms. So yeah, Tailwind's good too. Um, I haven't actually, oddly enough, I've not actually used Tailwind on a professional project yet. Um, but I've heard good things about it, and I've looked at it briefly, and I think it's another good one too. So yeah, but again, documentation, right? You probably understand that documentation better if you have a good understanding of CSS already, right? You understand the concepts at least better, so you understand what it's talking about, what it's doing. So, so there are good docs and there are bad docs, but I would always encourage, get used to reading documentation. It'll get you used to the terminology. So one of the things, being a self-taught dev, I didn't go to school for development. So one of the things that I have struggled with my entire career, in fact, I was just talking about this with a fellow developer the other day. Sometimes I work with a lot of smart people and they throw out words that I don't understand. And I've been doing development professionally for 15 years, over 15 years. So I've been doing this a long time, and there's still stuff that people throw out that to them is just like super easy, and I've never heard the term before. So there is a reality that you're just not going to know everything. You're not going to understand everything. But usually if they explain it, then I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get that. I understand what you're talking about. I just didn't know the word, right? Excuse me. So definitely keep reading documentation. The more you read it, the more you get used to it, the more you'll get used to finding things that you're looking for in documentation. Some of it has really good search functionality. In fact, I think, jump back here over to, so like this has a pretty decent search, form bindings. So if you kind of know what you're looking for, you can find that. The PHP framework that we use at the place that I work is called Laravel, and they have really good documentation, really good search functionality as well. So if you can find, trying to think of something off the top of my head, push your channels. There we go. So in this documentation is great because it links you right to that anchor on the page, which is awesome. But anyway, so get used to reading documentation. I think that's one of the best things that junior developers can do for their career long term, because the reality is there's just always going to be something new. And thankfully people are getting better at pushing new things out with documentation. So the more you can learn to read documentation, the faster you can learn new things when they come out. And that really is important for developers, especially. I'm going to pull my mic back just a bit because it's pinging since I've got it closer to my mouth there. Hopefully, let me know if that gets too soft for anybody. But yeah, so I definitely keep reading documentation. It's not fun, even as a senior developer. I don't like necessarily reading documentation, but it's definitely a very useful skill and one that will really help you long term, not just here when you're trying to learn code, but long term in the future as a developer. So definitely jump in that. Advent of code. I'm not familiar with Advent of code. What is that? See, it's another one of those things. I've been doing this for a long time. Never even heard of Advent of code. Is that an actual website? Is it adventofcode.com? Is that where you got that from? Who said that? Night Toad? Let me know if this is what you're talking about. What is this? We use Java, Python, React, AWS, and bring more sponsors. Huh. I don't like the website. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not a fan. Leaderboard. Interesting. About. I don't know. I don't know if this is what you meant or not, but I assume so since there's a leaderboard. I'll have to take a look at this. I don't know. I've never seen this before. Um, Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. I see. Yeah, that's it. All right. Interesting. Try a solution against examples. Advent calendar, small programming puzzles. Huh. Interesting. I would maybe do that, but I don't have time. That's the hard part is finding time to do some of these things. That's cool. All right, cool. Interesting. Nifty. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm all about practicing anything really that you can. So, um, the nice thing about things like puzzles, um, I think I mentioned I'm a board game guy. I also like puzzles and things like that. But puzzles force you to find solutions, right? And at the end of the day, that's really what we do as developers is we find solutions with code. We're trying to take a problem and figure out what's the best way to fix this problem or to make it less of a problem um, with code. And so that's really at the end of the day what we're trying to do. So puzzles I think are a great way to do that because you have to have solutions or it's not done, right? Um, so yeah, that's cool. I like that. Cool. Thanks for the information there, Night Toad. That's awesome. Let's see. Chat GPT. You had to pull that one in, Eddie. Awesome. Yeah, I would say, I mean, I actually, I use Chat GPT for a few things here and there. I'm not against Chat GPT. I would just be careful. So for example, Laravel, that PHP framework that we use at work, it only had, I think we're on version 10. It only had version 9, I think, in its documentation. So like there's some things that it would give you code that isn't wrong, but it's not up to date, if that makes sense. So it's not bad code. It's just not the best code that it could be giving you based on the current documentation. So, so that is one thing I would be careful of with using something like Chat GPT. But if you're just looking for like general knowledge, general information, it can be helpful. I would really caution any junior developer from letting it help you write code. Um, that's not the way to learn because eventually you're going to run into a situation where it's going to give you code and somebody's going to kick that back to you in a pull request review and you won't know what to do because somebody else wrote the code for you. So definitely don't lean on it. But if you're going to use it for writing any code, I will use it for writing code that that you know you're going to write a lot. So like boilerplate type code. Write the code for, building out models or building out, I'm thinking in terms of Laravel at the moment, but migrations, things like that, where it's a very standard setup. And so, you could have it pump out four of those for the four different models that you want. Then you go in and edit that, something like that. That might be something that you could use it for without a whole lot of damage. But yeah, you definitely want to be careful with using ChatGPT. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge Python fan, Night Toad. I'd be interested in to see uh, what you all think of it. I, I think part of it is I like my semicolons and my curly braces. Um, so it's just the way that I am. That's what I kind of grew up with from a development standpoint. So that's what I prefer. So I'm not a big Python fan, but I know it's very popular. So I'm not looking down on you for learning Python. It's definitely popular and it's definitely widely used. So certainly feel free to keep going with that. But I'm not going to be the guy that's going to answer your Python questions. I'll just tell you that right now. Maybe some basic programming. But yeah. Anyway, anyway, it's been a little over an hour since I jumped on here, and I honestly didn't expect to be on this long. But you guys are awesome and engaging, and I appreciate that. So thanks for joining me this afternoon or this late evening, Eddie, or early morning. Yusuf, I think it was early morning. So thanks for joining me. And I'm gonna go ahead and kill the stream here in a minute, and but I'll give you guys a chance to say anything else. So one last shot. If you've got anything you want to throw in the chat before I sign off. But again, we'll be getting a couple videos out next week on a couple of topics, which I'm not going to tell you until they come out. And then we're working heavily on trying to get processes in place and all the different details for the series coming up, which will be called Developer Odyssey. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I was looking at the image that I made for the Developer Odyssey thumbnail. I'll use that, and I'll put like episode numbers on it. But I just noticed when I was staring at it for a second, like the background maze looked like it was kind of wiggling a little bit. It was a little trippy. So you might take a look at that afterwards, after the live stream, and see if that thumbnail gives you weird vibes too. I might have to change it if so. Oh, Yusuf, I'm in the middle of the United States, smack dab in the middle. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. And that is pretty much the exact middle of the United States. So I'm very much landlocked. I've left the company. I've left the country a few times. I've been to Mexico, and I've been to like the Bahamas. And then a few years ago, I was actually in Germany, in Italy, and Romania for some stuff that I was doing. I was teaching basic WordPress development. So out there at a little Bible Institute in Romania. And then we had some vacation time in Italy, and obviously flew into Germany, all the different places there. So kind of fun. I have been on that side of the world, but not too far on that side of the world. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll get over there. My wife definitely would love to travel. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I'll ever get over to Indonesia or not. So, hey, Sweet Poodle, thanks for jumping in here. Actually, I'm getting ready to jump off. So, if you got anything you want to throw out there, certainly feel free to let me know. I can stay on a few more minutes, but, awesome. Yeah, no, this is great. This really was the goal again, all along, was to jump on and do live streams. But you got to build a following in order to get people that'll actually jump in here on a live stream and engage with you. So I definitely appreciate you guys jumping on with me for this kind of a practice run and testing. So if you've got anything else, let me know. I'm going to shut it down probably here in the next minute. So I apologize, Sweet Poodle. I don't know when you started watching, but you can go back and rewatch it if you want. But thanks for jumping in here. Thanks for saying hi. And I look forward to it. Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely do another stream. We may not get another stream until January, probably, just with the busyness of Christmas and everything, and trying to get this, the new series of videos out. That's kind of the main focus. So we probably won't have another live stream until January, but I will, whenever that is, I will definitely put that out there in much more advanced style than we did today. This was just to kind of test it out and see how things worked, and make sure that everybody could hear me and see the screen changes and all that fun stuff. So we definitely had a good time though. So thanks for everybody for joining in. So thank you, Eddie. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys on the next video, and obviously in January, probably on the next live stream. So thanks for jumping in, and have a great day or evening, whatever it is for you, wherever you are. So I'll see you guys.